to level up your online presence. My name is Steve, your host for today, and I'm joined by Gabe Brunk, one of Surefire Local's incredible digital marketing strategists. Two quick housekeeping items. In case you're unfamiliar with who we are, our mission is to help you make online marketing easy by providing your business with a next generation platform that is available everywhere you need it, across devices and browsers. When you run your business on an all-in-one platform, you're able to remove digital roadblocks, hindering growth, gain data-driven insights, and attract and engage customers through measurable multi-channel marketing. So in other words, our platform gives you a lot of fun marketing superpowers that make it easier to grow your business. And two quick reminders, this webinar is being recorded. You will receive an email later today with the link to watch the replay and view the slide deck. So feel free to sit back, relax, listen, and take it all in while you're here with us. And you can engage with us at any time using the questions tab, which you should see in the GoToWebinar control panel. And you can also share any feedback by emailing marketing@surefirelocal.com. So if you've joined any of our webinars in the past, you no doubt have heard Gabe lead insightful discussions before, and I promise today won't be any different. Gabe has a great presentation for you with a lot of tips and actions you can take to get the most out of all of Google's tools available to your business. So with that, I'm going to pass things over to you, Gabe.
Thanks, Steve. Hey, everyone. My name is Gabe Brunk. Like it says here, I work for Surefire as a senior customer success manager. I work with clients on a daily, weekly basis on a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about on the presentation today. And so the focus with this is about something that is near and dear to our hearts. We work on and work with a lot, which is Google. What is Google? What are all the tools they have? They are constantly adding tools, and they've changed a lot over time about what all they offer and what you all as small business owners can use. Marketing, I mean, there's a whole lot you can do with Google. So we're going to do a brief run through all of that in the second part. And then the first part, we're going to talk a bit about challenges, trends, essentials to online marketing success. So as digital becomes a larger part of how customers find businesses, how they research, how they decide who to work with, there's a lot of factors that clients look at and that Google looks at when they're deciding who to show for searches and where to show you. So we're going to look at what the current issues are that people look for when they're deciding, and then we're going to go to number two, how to use Google services, which are generally free except for advertising, to grow those over time, and what you can be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis using Google's products to work on that. So we'll start off with challenges, trends, and essentials about what you should be doing and products that you can be using to help grow your online presence and get your company showing more. So from a very high level, you have to start with thinking about how customers will find you today, what we call the customer journey, how they search, where they search, when they search, why they search, and the different platforms they use to do so. So understanding each customer is unique. There's not one strategy that works for everything. There's a lot of different ways people will find you. Some people are actively looking for your services right now. Some people are thinking about it. Some people are doing research. Each one of these platforms helps with a different piece of that, and hitting customers as high up in that search process as possible to start with, and then helping funnel them down through their decision-making process to actually contact you is the goal of all of this. So we'll run through a couple different ways that we can get that working. Starting off, this is the basic information that you need to have for your company in terms of what clients in Google is looking for across your website, all the different places people find you online. Business information, really basic. Make sure your name is correct everywhere. Make sure your address is correct everywhere. Make sure your phone number is correct. This is how people will contact you, how they will know they are looking at the right company, and how once they decide to, ask you more about what you do, they'll contact you. Profiles and listings. This includes your what I call online yellow pages, things like Google My Business, things like your directory listings, which there are dozens of online. You want to have your information on those to make sure that, again, no matter where somebody is in that journey and how they're searching, they're able to find your correct information wherever they look for you. Reputation is things like reviews. It's what have past customers said about your company, how much they like you, and then how many of them have left you reviews as a way of recommending you to future customers. So that's really important. Content is the information both on your website, talking about who you are, the services you provide, as well as content across the web about who you are. Advertising is ways through Google and other setups to pay these various companies to send you more visibility, more leads. And there are so many types of advertising out there that each focus on a slightly different segment of the market and people at different stages of that customer journey. So we'll dig a little bit into how Google's products work with that. And then social proof, looking at social media accounts, talking about how social media plays into your customer journey, and just about backing up everything you say and following up with past customers through social. Once you think about the information you need to provide, then the next step down is think about how are you going to provide that information to as many customers, potential customers, searchers as possible. These are a few of the places that Google works with. Google search is obviously a major one. They have the vast majority of the search market. If somebody goes online and is searching for information, most of the time they're going to use Google. So making sure that your information is optimized in a way that it will show up accurately and consistently on Google search is a really good way to make sure people are finding your information. YouTube, people will go there looking for tutorials, looking for videos, content like photos and videos, especially in the digital age as we move to multi-touch. People are finding you so many different ways. Having a presence on YouTube is important too, even if it's just really basic videos. It's another way that helps convince potential customers that you are who you say you are and you can do the work that they are looking for. Facebook, other social media, places that a lot of people will search for you on, review sites, whether it's Google My Business, Yelp, Home Advisor, all these different places that act as aggregates about information. And then voice assistants is a piece that's becoming more and more popular over time. As people start using their mobile devices, most of those have some sort of voice search currently. That's very common. Alexa, Google, there's a lot of these ways that that's starting to become a larger part of the market. And before we go any farther, I want to mention if anybody has any questions, please enter them into the GoToWebinar link. I'm happy to answer questions at the end. I love questions. So anything you're wondering about from what we're talking about, please throw it in there. We'll talk about it at the end of the presentation. After talking about the different places people will contact you, then we go to what devices are they using. These are all formatted slightly differently. People will often look at you across multiple devices. So quick list, smartphones, tablets, laptops, desktop. Devices like watches, Apple Watches, there's a couple of these that now let people use voice search through their watches. Life's getting crazy, that's an option, but it's becoming more and more popular. And then, like we said, voice assisted devices, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, that type of stuff. People have those, they're using them. So making sure you're optimized to show up in them is becoming more and more important. Now, once we look at all of this, getting down to what are you doing regularly to help benefit your online presence? These are issues people can come through. Producing results quickly. Is what you're doing producing the results you want? Are you putting your energy into the correct places? High quality traffic. You could put a lot of information out there and get as many people coming in as possible, but if that's not the sort of people who are actively searching for your services or looking for you as a particular company, it's not going to mean much. So making sure that the people that are finding you are finding you for the right reasons. Like we talked about, video and photos are something that's drastically, especially on social media, if a post has a photo on it, statistically it's about 10 times as likely to be commented on, interacted with. Humans are visual creatures. We love seeing videos, photos, descriptions. So if you don't have somebody who can do a lot of video photo editing, how do you create that? Convincing people to purchase from you of your competitors. Do you have reviews? What do you have out there that's helping you diversify yourself from your competitors and convince people who are searching for these services for the first time to work with you over them? Changing trends, this stuff is constantly changing, so keeping up with that is important. Putting your customers first. While you are running your own business, do you make sure that you are providing the customer service, you are providing the information to keep up with the customers, keep them happy, since they are really the ones going to keep your business going? And then brand image. Across all of this, how do you keep that information consistent so that if people go to different mediums, they're not seeing different versions of your company, everything is correct across the web. That's very important to people know who they're working with. As we go into this, These are there's been a lot of studies done. There's been a lot of information gathered about what are the factors that both clients, potential clients, and Google looks at when they're deciding what information do you have that's going to help you stand out from your competitors. So this is a small little list about what people look for. Top left, recency. Recency is based on how recently did you put out this information. If you have a blog that you put out 2 or 3 years ago versus a blog that came out a week or two ago, which one do you think people are going to focus on more? The current information, people know it's new, they know it's not something that has been outdated. So whenever we talk about the reviews, when we talk about content, social media, new is always better. So it's not about putting information out there and letting it sit. It's about putting consistent information out to keep your information recent. Relevance goes to, is this relevant to customers? Is this what they're looking for? Is this what they're searching for right now? Is it answering the questions they're asking today? So making sure you're not just putting any information out there, you're putting information out there that people want to hear about. Availability, down at the bottom, this is one that's become more popular recently. Are you available when they're looking for you? If your business is closed, Google's not going to show you as high because they know that you're not actively available to help that customer. So accurate business hours is really important, because if somebody is actively looking for you and you are open, we want Google to know that. We want customers to know that. So again, getting back to directory listings, Google My Business, all these places people can find you, is your information consistent and accurate across everything? Prominence. How many other companies, other websites are boosting you and saying you are a good company? A couple different things that factor into this, something called backlinks, meaning how many other websites have a link to your website on them. This can come from directories, this can come from your Chamber of Commerce, this can come from any other prominent website that is sending visitors to your site as a way of saying, we recommend this company. Prominence is important. And then distance, especially when we start talking about service area companies that provide services in a particular geography, making sure that across your web, on your website, Google My Business, all these other places, do you have your correct list of where you serve? If Google doesn't just know this, you might have a list of where you want to work, but if we don't tell that to Google in a way they understand, they're not going to know it, and they're not going to help send you traffic from that area. So distance, prominence, availability, relevance, and recency. And again, we'll send this webinar out afterwards so you can look through to track this over time. So when we talk about building strong local presence, it involves a lot of different things. Looking at your local search engine optimization. Are your directory listings websites set up to focus on the topics and locations you want to focus on? Are you optimized for voice search? Do you have paid advertising in place to help grow in places you might not currently have much of a presence that you want to have a presence in? Do you have the reviews to back up that you are a legit company? Do you have the correct content written and also being created to keep your presence strong? And then are you engaging with customers in all the different ways you can talk to them online to show that you're active with your customer base over time? Again, any questions from that, please throw them in the chat. We'll talk about them at the end of the webinar. The second section, with all of that in mind, thinking about all the different ways you have to communicate with customers, all the ways that they want to hear from you, see what information you have, what does Google have available to help with this? Now, this is a bunch of Google tools we'll run through, and it's going to talk about all the ways we can use that. Some of you, like me, probably most of you, remember when Google was first started, it was just a search engine. It was a website you went to, you put in a topic or a question, and it would try to provide the best website available to answer that question. They have evolved. That has changed drastically since Google was founded. They have much more than a search engine. They have tools to help design to build your presence and increase local reach. So not only are they trying to show this information, they are actively giving you free tools to help give them the information they need to show you as much as possible. And you don't have to use these tools, but they're providing them to you. They all help in some way. This is a list of what we're going to run through for most of the rest of the presentation, look through these different sections and dig into how they work, best options, how to use them, and then what you can be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to optimize them. So we'll start with Google My Business. Go to Google Ads, Google Reviews, Google Analytics, YouTube, Google Photos, Google Search Console, Page Speed, Trends, Drive Assistant. Each of these have their own little way to use them to help your business. So how we'll walk through them, we'll look at an overview of what the tool does. We'll talk about the impact of what using that tool will do to help your company. And then we'll have just a quick little action item list of what would be recommended of how to use it regularly to benefit your company. Google My Business. Most of you probably have an idea of what Google My Business is, but summary of it is free profile listed where you can claim to help your small business stand out on Google search and maps. If you go and do a Google search, generally this is the second or third thing that pops up where it'll show on Google Maps, and you'll see a little icon that lists your and other businesses in the area. That will link to your Google My Business page. This will show a lot of information, but one statistic that's a little bit scary, 56% businesses have not claimed their Google My Business listing. Just because you have not gone in and created yourself a Google My Business listing does not mean that one does not exist. Google is trying to provide customers with accurate information. So if they see through other directory listings, through maybe your website, if their bots or their algorithms find that you are a company, they will create, to the best of their knowledge, information about your company. And there might be a Google My Business listing that you don't have control over. If you go and search for your company on Google and you find a Google My Business page that says unclaimed, claim it. So we'll dig a bit more into how to actively do that. Steve, it's not letting me go to the next slide. Do you still have control over it?
Give it a look right now.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. All right, now we're back. So what to update on Google My Business? Make sure you have all of your information updated. They love to see every piece of information updated. This is going to be stuff like we've talked about, your address, your open hours, the hours that people can call you, your geography, what your service area is, and it's just sort of a home base that Google uses to know information about your company. Lets you engage with your customers directly with reviews. If they leave you a review, as much as possible, respond back to that review within 24, 48 hours, leave a comment. If it's a negative review, it lets you see customers that you still need to work with, and it lets you go back to them, say, how can I help you? And then hopefully, if you are able to solve their problem, have them go back and edit their Google review to say something good about your company. And those types of reviews are really powerful too, because it shows not only do you get a lot of good reviews, which customers love to see, but you're also good about catching up with customers, talking with them, and solving problems if and when they happen. And then obviously ways to contact you. Google My Business, people can call you directly through your Google My Business page. They can look for directions to your address. They can message you. Certain places you can book an appointment. You can get that set up for them to book an appointment directly through your page. And then obviously they can visit your website. So this is a place that people will find in multiple places on the internet. They can find information about you, and some people will contact you without ever visiting your website. So this is an important piece to have set up. As far as action items, make sure your listing is claimed and verified, check it to make sure it's accurate, and then ideally keep engaging with customers through it regularly by uploading photos to your Google My Business gallery. Push out a Google My Business post each week, which is kind of like a status update for your Google My Business page, and then try to get at least 3 new reviews each month, just to keep your review count growing and to show that your reviews are, like we talked about earlier, recent, relevant, strong, that kind of thing. So that's Google My Business. Google Ads, this is a range of different types of advertising options Google has. But basis of it, it's an advertising platform they have where you can target the type of customers you want and place ads in different places around the internet to try and get them to find you when they might not otherwise. And Google's claim is for every $1 you spend on ads, you generally will add a revenue of $2. So if you invest a certain amount, you should expect to get about double that back. That obviously is, depends on the person in the area, but we generally see very good results with Google Ads because of how many people use Google products. Here's a couple different types of Google Ads that are available. You can set up one of these, you can set up all of these, depends on what your goals are. A lot of what I talk about with customers is, what kind of goals do you have for next year? And then what do we need to put in place on top of your regular setup to try and get there? This is often where we start. Local service ads are one of the newest type of Google ads. You generally see these at the very top of a search results page for applicable services. So we don't have a visual of it, but if you go and do a search, you'll often see 3 little boxes at the very top that say Google Guaranteed under them that list a couple of businesses. Those are businesses who went through a background check with Google, got Google Guaranteed, and then their LSA can show up there, and it's just a straight pay per lead model. So everybody that calls or emails you from that, you pay a price to Google, and then you've got another lead. So really good low cost way to get some set up if you have a service that they allow. Google search ads are the ones you will see in search results. So this will be, generally you'll see 3 at the top of the page and sometimes 3 at the bottom. If there's enough people doing it, this can be for anything under the sun. If you have a service or you have a website, you can promote it through Google search ads. This is a lot of what we set up for customers, is a way of trying to grow specific services in particular geographies that they want to grow. Display ads are photo and video ads that you will see on other places on the internet, meaning that, say if you're on Facebook and you see an ad on Facebook, that's a Facebook display ad. Google's ones are very similar, but you'll see them on other websites. So if you go online and you search for a toaster, you're going to suddenly start seeing ads for toasters as you go to other sites around the web, and that's sort of what this does. If someone goes online and starts searching for your services and you have a Google search ad set up for that service, they can start seeing your ads around the web as well. YouTube, Gmail, mobile, a lot of places you can set these up to show based on what your goals are. Remarketing is similar to display ads. This is a way of getting customers who have previously visited your website to come back to your website. If somebody comes and visits your site, doesn't take an action, maybe they're just looking around, remarketing lets you send your display ads directly to that person as they search the web. So maybe they're looking for a roof, say. They come and they find your website, they search around, maybe they're not looking to buy at that moment. If you have remarketing ads set up, then if they go and look around other websites, they could see display ads specifically for your website saying, hey, remember you did this, you should come back and check it out again. Good way of getting customers to come back and actually close on something they were looking for. So again, different strategies, different costs for all of these. Goal of it is to say, what am I trying to shoot for? And then what do I need to put in place to get there? So talking about leads, website traffic, trying to grow your company awareness. There's different ads that work better for those different ones. Setting up tracking is a really important one that often when I start working with customers, they don't always have set in place. If you're doing advertising, it's straight up, you're paying Google money and you need to make sure that you're making more than that coming back in. Otherwise, it's not a good investment. You need to be able to do that. You have to know, for the money I put into Google Ads, how many website visitors did I get? How many contacts did I get? How much revenue did I generate from each of those contacts? Otherwise, you're not going to know what you got. So things like web forms, phone numbers, website, chats, you need to be able to see what's coming back in from them. So that's something to make sure you get set up. And then as you actually build the campaigns in Google Ads, you need to make sure they're set up correctly for optimal performance. If you go into Google Ads, they will give you some recommendations about what they think you should do, but it is on you or whoever is setting this to build it from scratch. So search and display campaigns, you need to make sure you have the right terms in there, images that are good for what you're talking about. Brand and non-brand, are you talking about your company as a whole? Or are you talking about services you provide? These are different strategies. And then there's we could do a whole conversation about Google ad optimization, but basically there's a lot of very specific ways to set it up to make sure you're optimizing your money to get what you can back from it. And then things like putting the correct locations. If you're a service area business, target the correct audiences and demographics. Google has a lot of information about what age any certain person is, what kind of bracket are you as far as wealth generation. So if you say you have a high-end product, maybe you only want to target people who are in the top 20% of income bracket. If you have a product that's targeted towards youth, you can say, I only want to target people within this age range. There's a lot of that you can set up, as well as things like negative keywords. So if you're, say, trying to do window installation, you don't want to get car window repair. So you'd put some negative keywords in to say, I don't want leads that are coming from this particular source. Just as a way of trying to make sure that you're not only getting as many visitors and leads as possible, but also you're getting the correct people contacting you. Google reviews, there's a lot of places out there that you can get reviews on. Google reviews at this point is the gold standard in terms of the bang for your buck and the benefit you get for each review you get back. Reviews, like it says here, valuable information for both you and your customers. Reviews give you information about what customers think about your business and lets you change things, update things about your company, know what people are saying. It also lets Google know when they should show you versus other companies in your area, because it gives them a lot of good information about your company. You can see a little chart down here on the right. This shows on average the how having certain scores affects your ranking in organic search rankings. For any of these rankings we talk about, there's a lot of different factors that Google uses. This shows how the quality of your Google My Business reviews impacts that. If you have 1 to 3 stars, the smaller number is better here. So if you're on average in around the 40th percentile, which would be page 4, 1 to 3, if you get your stars from 1 to 3 up to 3 to 4, 3 point something, you would just by that raise from 41 to 37. And then if you get up to 4.5, 5, somewhere in there, go up to 33. So without all the other factors in place, this is one factor that can make a big difference both in map ranking and also organic search results. Again, this goes back to that list of what we talked about, what to focus on: prominence, make sure you're getting reviews from the correct places. So Facebook, Yelp, some of those do help, but Google ones are going to do the most. Recency, the more recent a review, the more Google and customers will tend to care about it. Relevance, are they talking in the review that's left, is that customer talking about the services you provided them? If I'm going and trying to get a deck built, if I go and see a review for a company where they say they built a great deck for me, that's more relevant than if they say they changed my baby's diaper. It's going to be something that I know I'm looking for, and it's the appropriate type of feedback. And then proximity, this again with the rest of your Google My Business helps to let Google know, is this company in a service area that I want to work in? So helps with all of those. General goals that Google likes to see: at least 3 new reviews every month. If you have any negative reviews, give a piece of feedback to that customer as soon as possible. And one thing to remember when you're leaving responses to negative reviews, try not to do it in the heat of the moment. These are your businesses. They're very, very close to you and you're very proud of them. If someone leaves a negative review, it's very easy to want to reach out and say how unfair it is, or maybe it's something that's not relevant. Maybe it's a fake review. That one thing to remember is that every person that is seeing these reviews, the person that left the review is only one person, but anybody who's researching you in the future will see that review and will see your response potentially. So make sure you're posting something that does tell your side of the story, but also lets the customer know, contact us, see if we can do something to help. Remind your customers to leave reviews. So this can be done just by sending them a link to your Google page. It can be done when you're on the job and say, hey, we'd love it if you'd leave us a Google review. I'll send you a link later. Let them know this is something that helps you. And if they appreciate the work you've done, they're much more likely to, if they know that you want them to leave something, it's more likely they'll do it. And then not only negative reviews, but all reviews, give at least a quick reply back to every review you've gotten. This lets people know that you do pay attention to this. It's not just something where they're throwing their feedback into the ether. If they leave a reply and you leave a feedback, both they will be more likely to trust you because they say, oh, they are paying attention to what I'm saying about them. And as well, anybody who's researching your company can look at that and say, oh, look at this company. Not only do they have a lot of reviews, they are, even if it's, thanks for the review, loved working with you, you care about your customers. And a lot of the times Google My Business reviews are one of the first things people will look at when they're deciding if they want to work with you. So it's a great first impression to show your company is communicative, you care about your customers, all that stuff we want. And then generally just making sure that your business is verified so the information shows everywhere. So reviews, once your Google My Business page is verified, like we talked about earlier, that's when you can get reviews. If your page is not verified for some reason, companies or clients will not be able to leave reviews. So that's something to think about. Google Analytics. This is how you find information out from your website about who is visiting your website, how they found you, and what they're doing when they're on your site. If you don't have analytics installed, you basically aren't going to know much about what people are doing when they're on your site. This is a code that you can just sign up for and then install the code on your site. It will track visitors, it will track conversions, all of that type of stuff. And you want to make sure that when you set up any marketing or advertising that you link into this so that you can tell how well your advertising is doing well. This will tell you things like, how did my customers find me? Did they come in from a search results page? Were they sent to my website from my advertising? Did they come in from social media? Did they link to my website address, my URL directly? You can track all of that over time to see what's growing, what's not. Is anything doing really, really well? Or is there anything that's not working well that I need to prioritize, put some more time into? Also lets you track who's contacting you through certain methods. So if you have web forms, phone call, there's ways to set it up to track once they come to my site, who's contacting me, to see which of those methods are producing the most results. as well as things like blog tracking when you put blogs on your site, which those blogs are getting the most views, which ones are showing up in Google search the most. So as you're creating this relevant content for the website, tracking and seeing what topics and what questions are people responding to the most. And if you see that a certain service that you provide is getting a lot of views on the blogs you write about that topic, then you know this is a very, this is a service a lot of people are interested in learning more about. And so it helps you know, should I write more about this particular topic in order to get shown in more Google search results and get more traffic to my site. More traffic hopefully converts into more leads into more jobs, revenue, flow goes down from there. So at the very top, making sure you're writing and talking about the correct information. And then being able to tell where your business is ranking, looking at different, Google search, see where do you generally rank in Google search, when do you rank for that, what cities are you ranking for that in. One thing to think about is when people say they want to be high in search results, they want to be #1, every single search that somebody does is a different search. And so all those factors, the closer they are to you, the more likely you are to show up. If they're searching for something you've actively talked about a lot on your website, you're more likely to show up. So this lets you see, what am I currently showing up for? Is there anything I want to show up higher for? And again, lets you inform your digital strategy about what do I need to put my effort into to grow as fast as possible. Unless you know where you are right now, you aren't going to know where you need to work to get to where you want to be. Things you can do with analytics to help get towards those goals are review your website analytics every month and check how you're doing compared to last month, compared to last year, to see how your marketing and advertising campaigns are performing. You can check on how your website ranks on different places, mobile, desktop. If you see things like your website bounce rate is high, meaning that if somebody comes to your website and then leaves the site without making any kind of interaction with it, that's called a bounce, meaning that they did visit your site, but they weren't very engaged with it. They probably didn't find the information they wanted. You can check on how long they stayed on your site, what the average time on site is, to see how well your website is performing in getting customers the information they need. Setting up goal completions is what you can do to track how many web forms or contacts people have. If there's a specific button you want them to click on, whether it's a click here to leave a, to schedule an appointment, you can set up goals for button clicks to track how many people clicked this button within this time frame. There's a whole bunch you can do with goal completions to track, are people taking the actions on your site that you want them to? And again, once you know what they're doing on your site, then you can decide, do I want more, less, do I need to focus on this? And then check on landing pages. Means that when somebody comes to your site, what is the first page they see? So what is the page that they landed on your site? You can look at those pages and say, which ones of them have the best conversion rates? Which of these pages are getting the most customers or visitors to contact me, which is the goal of this? And then you can look at landing pages, especially for advertising, to say, of the, say if you have Google Ads set up and it sent 100 visitors to a specific page, how many of those 100 visitors contacted me? The more visitors that contact you, the higher your conversion rate, and the more inquiries or leads you're going to be getting from the money you spent to get those visitors to your site. So a couple things you can do in analytics to help track how things are going with your marketing and advertising. Now we branch out a little bit. YouTube, again, a free service that a lot of people aren't using that can help your company. Spreading information about your company. Videos are just as important as photos in some ways. This, for those of you that don't know, most people probably do, YouTube is a free video sharing site where anybody can upload their videos. You can share them around, watch other people's videos, etc. Once you have a video uploaded to YouTube, then you can take that link, you can put it on your website, you can share it through social media. It lets you spread that video out in a lot of different ways. If you have videos on your YouTube page and you've set up your YouTube page accordingly to make sure your videos, the title is set up, the description, the title, the meta tags, little things like that that tell Google what this video is about, then you can show up in Google's video tab in a search. As well as if somebody searches for a question that your video answers, your video can show up in the search results page. Again, just more ways that people can get answers to their questions. And if you're the one providing the questions they're asking for, then people will benefit you in terms of visitors, leads, that kind of stuff. And then also just being found on YouTube directly. If someone goes to YouTube and searches for a topic that you're an expert on and you've taken, posted a video, then you can be found there as well. And YouTube, again, is world's second largest search engine after Google. Lots of people use YouTube every day to search for stuff. If you have content on there, they can find your content. Goal of this, upload a new video every month. It doesn't have to be a professional video. If you have a professional video that looks like an advertisement, that can be good too, as far as promotions and things like advertising. Customers or potential customers love to see that you're real people, that you do this work on a consistent basis. So if you're on the job doing something, talking to a customer, whatever, just shoot a quick little video showing what you're doing, talking about what you're doing, show your level of expertise, and then you can post that. Great way to share that out over social media to let people know what your services are and that you're the right person to help them complete whatever job or service they're looking to be helped with. I have some customers who have live video series where maybe once a week or once a month they have a fireside chat, or they show something they're doing on a job site as a way of keeping customers informed about the work you do, and also establishing not only your company's brand name, but if you're the owner, if you're a marketing manager, starting to associate the company with your level of expertise and knowledge. They start to see this company as having strong, intelligent people who work for it, so that they know they're in capable hands when they start being part of it. Focus on answering questions. Google and YouTube, people often go, and when they're searching, they don't just type in keywords most of the time, they'll actually search for a phrase or a question. How do I fix my gutters? Something like that. And if you have a topic or a video that's talking or answering that question for them, that's how you can start to show up. Keep it short, doesn't have to be long, 1 to 3 minutes. People like to go in, see a little clip about something, and then they're done. So it's more relevant to produce more short videos than one very long video. You'll be seen more times in general. So it's a very quick and easy way to get information out there. And then once you have these videos onto YouTube, there are places in YouTube where you can get a code called an embed link, which lets you put that video onto your website. And then anybody who visits your website, whatever page the video is on, they can watch that YouTube video directly on your website. Again, just spreading out the number of places that people can see these, get the most bang for your buck in terms of the effort you're putting in based on what benefit you get back. Google Photos is a photo saving site, cloud-based platform. You can upload, save, access, organize, share your photos. This is a really good way if you have people taking photos of job sites, or you have photos you just want to store and share, upload them here. Once they're uploaded to Google Photos, then it's easy to put them into your Google My Business profile, add them to your website. And like we talked about earlier, businesses with photos, 35% more clicks to their website than businesses that don't have photos. It's something easy to forget about. Maybe you uploaded 5 photos originally and then you didn't upload any more. Customers often can go and look at when the photo was uploaded. So if they see that the last photo you uploaded to Google My Business, say, was from 5 years ago or 2 years ago, it's good information. But if there was a photo uploaded last week, they can say, oh, this is a current information about the business. This helps me know the kind of work they're capable of. So yeah, it just helps you organize, visualize what you have instead of just keeping them on a file somewhere. This lets you share them throughout your team. It's a way to share photos throughout everyone in your company. And then once you have the photos there, best practices, upload a couple new photos every week. We say 5 a week if you can get that many to your Google My Business page. This does directly help your Google My Business page show up more, and the amount of interactions and contacts you get coming back from it. We generally see once you hit 100 or 200 photos in your Google My Business page, it can drastically increase the number of people who contact you. So a little bit of a goal there. It's just about putting a few up every week to keep that number rising. Name the photo so that people know what they're looking at. Don't just leave it as whatever the generic camera setting was. Do put a name just to let Google and people know what that photo is about. You can put descriptions in, you can add effects, bundle photos. There's a couple different things you can do with Google Photos that let you produce content that's relevant to Google. Google Search Console is a bit like analytics in a way that it's something you can connect to your website. It lets you measure website traffic and performance, and also the most important part for me in the work I do is identifies and fixes issues found across your website. While analytics is more just about tracking what's going on, Search Console will actively help notice any problems with your website that might impact your Google ranking. It will let you know if a page is loading slowly. It will let you know if there's some text on your page that's not formatted correctly. Are your title tags incorrect? So little bits and pieces about the more technical side of website design that will raise them for you so you don't have to go and actively search out every individual piece yourself. And then again, if you keep this stuff updated, it can improve your search ranking by having the information correct in the way that Google wants to see it. It lets you make sure that each one of your pages is being submitted to Google correctly to make sure that Google can read it and what we call index it, meaning that it's put into your folder so that anybody who searches can find it. And just make sure that Google can correctly read your website. So again, active items, once you install this on your site, add your sitemap to Google, make sure they can read every page on your site correctly, make sure you don't have any errors on your website backend that are negatively affecting how Google reads it. And then also just check it every month to make sure that nothing is broken and that you have been updating the recommendations that Google has. Google Page Speed, there's a lot of different page speed websites out there that will let you know how fast Google is reading or loading your pages. Some companies like to add a lot of content to their websites, like videos and a bunch of photos, and make sure they're very visually appealing. But what you want to also make sure you're balancing is with all this additional information and information that has to load every time a client comes to my site, is it taking Google too long to load my site to the point where visitors are leaving my site before it loads? So this Google Page Speed lets you load your site up, see what pages are loading quickly, which ones are loading slowly, and then gives you recommendations for what you could change about your site to make it more in line with what Google is looking for that. Another stat, if a page takes longer than 3 seconds to load specifically for mobile, mostly people will leave without finishing waiting for it to load. You want this to happen quickly because people online are looking for information, and if you've gone to a site and it's taken a while to load and you don't really know what the site's about, or you're visiting it for the first time, it's very easy to want to jump off it and go try to find something that's a bit faster. It can help you with identifying the pages that are loading slowly, that lets you know if they're hurting your search results. And it also lets you know which pages are converting the most, which pages do customers generally contact you the most from, and make sure specifically that those conversion pages are optimized for speed to make sure people aren't falling off without contacting you. So once you get this, you can just put your website into this, have a speed test. It will give some recommendations, and then there are some pieces of software you can use and that we use internally that will automatically pull this information for us to track over time. So you can automate that a little bit. Google Trends. This is a website that is really cool that a lot of people don't know about. Search Trends report that calculates how frequently a given search term is entered in Google's search engine during a given period of time. What this means is that you can go into Google Trends, put in your geography, put in a search term, and see how often do people search for that term. This is great if you're trying for a couple things. If you're trying to see what, if you have seasonality in your business and you want to see how many people are searching for my services right now as compared to, to the summer or to the fall or to last year, the same time, it lets you track how different topics are trending on Google. This is great for blogs. If you see a certain topic that is trending right now, write a blog post about it. If there's a question that a lot of people are asking within the last couple of months, write a blog about it as a way of trying to get those. If you're answering those questions that people are asking, then those people will come to your site for the answer as opposed to somebody else's site who does have that answer on their site. Again, content strategy, great way to write information. Make sure that those pieces of information are on your website, on your blogs, so that people can find it, and then analyze it to make sure that you're focusing on what new customers are looking for. If there's a term that's trending right now that you don't have any information of about your site, that might mean that people are looking for something that you didn't think about putting on your site. You can add it, update it to make sure that, again, the right people are finding you. So action items for this, check and see what terms are trending right now in your specific area. You can use that to figure out what types of topics and content you should write about. And then another idea is to put a frequently asked questions page on your website that answers questions that people ask a lot as a way of A, helping website visitors find the information they want, and B, pull more traffic to your website to that page because it's answering questions people are asking on Google. Google Drive is like Dropbox. It's one of these programs that lets you just store information, kind of like Google Photos, but not just for photos, for anything you want to store. Cloud-based platform allows you to organize, edit, and share files and documents throughout your organization. Great way. We use this extensively at Surefire. Great way to upload a file to Google Drive and then just share that link to your friend or colleague. Then they can access that information that you uploaded to it. let you keep accurate business information. If you need to share forms, make sure everybody has the same information. And then it's a great online place to just make sure you have all your photos, content uploaded, so that if somebody needs to upload your logo to a blog post or to the website, everyone has the same logo. It's not stored on one person's computer somewhere. It's stored on Google Drive for everyone to access the same information. So centralized database for your business, store all your information in one easy place. You can set up folders to make sure everybody can find information correctly. And then if you need to collaborate on something, it makes it easy to all access the same information for collaboration. Google Assistant is Google's version of voice search. This is a newer thing that is constantly evolving, helps people find information quicker and easier by using their voice, especially if they're on a mobile device. And then stats, 70% of requests to Google Assistant are conversational in nature, meaning that if people are talking to their phone, if you push that little talk button on your phone and ask a question, you're not going to say just a couple words. You're not going to say random stuff. You're going to ask a question to that. That's one of the major reasons why a lot of what we work on is not as much about specific keywords anymore. It's about answering asked questions. So whenever you're writing information, make sure Google can read your content in the same way that users do at this point, and they're looking for questions and answers. So what this lets you do is when you're deciding what information to put out there, if you make it conversational in the way that, put a blog that says, how do I fix my gutters? If somebody asks that question and you have a blog that says the same thing, Google knows that's a very relevant blog for that search. So as you're putting information out there, make sure it's optimized so that phones, computers, watches, all the different new technologies we talked about that use this voice search assistant, it will help you perform better in that particular thing. And then things like Google, Yelp, and Bing, the information that those companies have about your business, that's what these voice search programs use to decide who should, what they should recommend after a voice search is done. So making sure to have your Google My Business set up, all the directory listings we talked about, that's what's going to help you in some ways perform better in these particular types of searches. And then things to do, write content that is not just keyword stuffed like used to work, 5-10 years ago. Talk to the customers directly. That will show up in these types of searches. As you're writing website pages or blogs, make sure the back end side of this, it's called schema. It's basically the language that Google can read. So not only are they seeing the information on your page, there's also a bunch of shortcuts you can put in the back end that let Google easily read that as well to know where to show it. So structured data and schema. Make sure you have your business updated throughout Google, Bing, and Yelp, a couple of the directory listings we talked about. On your website, have a FAQ page with short answers to common questions. Location signals to your content, meaning that when you talk about the services you provide, also mention where you provide them, because you don't want to get somebody, unless you're a national business who's sending information to people nationally. If you're a local business, you want people primarily from your service area to be finding and contacting you. So we have different ways we provide this, but if you're making a page or you're making a blog, make sure both in the back end and in the content, you mention your service area a little bit, just to give Google that information about where you work and let customers know. And then all the rest of the stuff we talked about, active online presence will help with this over time. Google Meet and Google Calendar, other things to think about. Google Meet, free virtual conferencing app, virtual appointments, virtual events. This is completely free. It lets you, especially with COVID, I've seen a lot of clients start using this in different ways, both internally and with customers. If you are wanting to have a team meeting, but you're no longer in the office and you can't talk face-to-face anymore, Google Meet lets you very easily jump on a video screen share call. You can do a screen share kind of like what we're doing today, where you can do a presentation over Google Meet where you can share your screen like we're doing to show information. You could also do, if you have a camera on your computer, you can do face-to-face conversations with Google Meet. If you're talking to a customer, it lets you do an estimate, et cetera. A lot you can do with that for free, so try it out. And then Google Calendar is Google's calendar, very straightforward, free calendar app. This can sync up to the rest of these programs very well. You can create your own calendar. You can also connect to your coworkers' calendars to see what their timeline is like. You can make shared calendars to let everybody know something's happening at the same time. A lot of different stuff for internal and external meetings. Great way to keep up to date with everything that's going on. So again, another free service Google provides. So that's the summary of all those programs that Google uses. Again, if you have any questions, enter them. We'll talk about them in just a minute. Going a bit to what Surefire does with this. While it's important, every piece of this is important, even just talking about it took almost an hour, and actually doing it takes longer than that. It's not just about doing something and forgetting about it, it's about doing it regularly, it's about keeping everything updated. So that's the challenge. Going down through the list, these are all separate tools, individual things you should be doing. Mastering the tools is not easy. A lot of it takes some time to learn and to actively use. Constant updating, it's stuff you have to be pushing out regularly to really get the most bang for your buck and the benefit from it. Data analysis can be overwhelming. There's a lot of data that programs like Google Analytics and some of those programs give you. So making sure you're pulling the correct information can kind of feel like you're looking for a needle in a haystack, especially if you're just starting to learn it. And then creating content reviews, maintaining everything takes time. So part of it's information, and the second part of it is how much time do you as an individual have to work on this stuff throughout your day, week, month. So what our goal is get some software guidance to make building it easier. You can learn all this on yourself and do it yourself. Our goal is to make it quicker and easier. So what we have is one tool that helps summarize all of this down into one program. So instead of having to go and log into everything, you go to one place to manage all of it, and that lets you just check that every day as opposed to running around, logging into everything, having different people focusing on different things. We use automation to help automate some of this to make it quicker. So instead of having to go, say, to each social media site and post something, you can post it once, it goes everywhere. Things like AI, machine learning to analyze data. So instead of needing to get to learn yourself or hire someone to do this specifically for you, we have programs that do it and will spit out the insights and reports you're looking for to actually know the outcome of a lot of this. We have programs to produce location-based content. We have an app called GeoJuice, which lets you go on the job site, take a photo of what you're doing, write a quick description. It gets posted to your website along with the longitude and latitude of where you were when you did that check-in. So it gives Google and clients the exact service area you have over time as that's uploaded. So really cool program we have if you ever want to ask about it. And then in general, individuals like myself, we have a whole customer success team. We are constantly providing our clients support and guidance. We're around to help set goals, help reach those goals, answer questions. This industry is constantly evolving. There's a lot for us to keep up with, let alone business owners that are actually working on keeping their business going and making sure everything's going well. So that's most of what I have. Again, happy to answer questions. Highly recommend if you haven't seen the marketing platform, here's a little screenshot of the analytics tab. You'll see off to the left there, we have a leads tab, reputation, whole bunch of stuff there. Give us a call. We're always happy to run through it and see if it's something that would work for your business.
All right, Gabe, thank you so much for leading us through today's discussion. There was definitely a lot to unpack, as everyone can see, and you did a really good job of sharing simple tips, breaking all these tools down, and just helping people think about how they can use these, how best they can use these, because you can quickly fall down a rabbit hole and lose track of time. So I hope everyone here has learned something new that they can take back with them to help improve their marketing, their business, online presence. Right now, I would like to offer everyone on today's webinar the chance to learn more about how Surefire Local can help you and your business with your marketing. You'll see a poll on your screen. Just simply click yes or no if you'd like to join us for a one-on-one call, just to see what it's like to run your marketing with an all-in-one platform. And if you're not ready yet, that's okay too. Either way you answer, we're just really glad you came to hang out with us. But if you are interested, we'll reach out with next steps after this webinar. It's just a great opportunity to explore a user-friendly all-in-one platform that leverages artificial intelligence that's not found anywhere else to build your digital footprint and grow your business profitably. So I'm going to give it a moment here to let everyone answer. All right. Tons of people wanting to learn more. I'm excited to see that. All right. And if you don't answer the poll and you think of it after the fact, or as you're watching this recording, You can always reach us at marketing@surefirelocal.com as well, which you'll see on your screen now. So as we say goodbye, again, I want to thank Gabe for hosting today's chat, and a huge thank you to all of you as well for taking this time out of your day to spend it with us. I hope to see you back on future webinars. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions after the fact, or as you watch the replay, if you share it with your team members, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you. We're here to help. You can email us at marketing@surefirelocal.com. And until next time, goodbye, everybody.